This week, we've got all the budget analysis you need. After all, who knows more about money than podcasters? I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that usually wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. But this week, it's a budget special. Producer Martin and I have put together a comprehensive look at Rachel Reeves' first budget as Chancellor, haven't we, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. You're going to hear from Rachel Reeves herself, explaining how radical the budget was. We have a response from Greg Mustard, one of the most called-upon political commentators in Britain, and also one of the brains behind the Liz Truss budget. And Eshaan Akbar joins us to present the budget that he would have given.
But as ever, there was so much in our budget coverage that we couldn't... No, actually, we included everything, didn't we, Martin?
We cut the Lib Dem spokesman segment, remember? You said it was too boring to listen to while she was speaking.
Oh, that doesn't count, Martin. That's basically the same as cutting out all the ums and ers. So let's start with Red Rachel herself, as we hold her to account for starting a class war. Let's take a listen. Rachel Reeves, thank you so much for coming on the programme.
Thank you for having me.
We're here to talk about the budget now. I love Budget Day. As producer Martin will back me up, every year I decorate the halls with money.
Yes.
All sorts of things.
Last year, Harriet.
It's very exciting.
If you recall, you locked me away in a red suitcase, didn't you? And you were like,
Yes,
you
I
can't
did.
come out until midday. It was very hard to breathe in there.
It was very witty. It was... It was worth it. It was worth it to do a budget prank. But I have to say, this day, my budget plans were rather pared back. They were rather sad. They were rather drab, because I wasn't in the celebratory mood. And then I listened to your budget, Rachel, and I have to say, I was right. I still don't want to party. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't want to party. Our budget that we said today, hard decisions were made, but absolutely the right decisions. And you might not be partying, but a lot of people will. Well, other people will be partying, and they'll be very pleased.
I mean, I think the headline number being £40 billion in taxes, that's probably going to scare a few people if they don't take a closer look at the things that you are spending that money on.
Well, do you know what? Class war is scary. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Class war. Do you admit this is class war?
I'll say this is class war.
Wow.
I knew it.
Do you know what? I've gone to the left.
Wow.
I've gone. It's what you do. It's what you have to do. Call me Stalin. I don't care.
I will call you Stalin. In fact, I've been saying this to producer Martin now for weeks. I've said she is Red Rachel. She is communist. She is the worst. And he's gone, no, she's centrist. No, she wants to bring austerity. And I said, austerity like Stalin did when he starved everyone.
That's right. I'm not starving anyone, but call me Stalin. You can call me Chairman Mao. Right. And I take that and I will wear it.
Well, Miss, Rachel, I've got to say that a lot of your...
Red Rachel.
Yes, Red Rachel, your, suggestions as to what's going to be happening in the budget, they don't seem that communist. I mean, we've got the lowest capital gains tax in the G7. It's not like anyone's being bankrupted here. I mean, just slight raises on...
No, it's gone up. Non-doms, CGT, inheritance tax. Stalin, there's not going to be boots, there's going to be a little statue of me. And people will say, students will come and visit me. There'll be a sort of there'll be like my grave in Highgate Cemetery. And then socialist bros will take girlfriends there. That's what I foresee for myself.
And producer Martin, how you can sit there and say it's not very left-wing when you can see what they're doing to private schools. I mean, that is going to really affect my nephew Ronald. And it's like you're like, no, that's not super left wing. Well, it is.
Mean,
it's the kind of thing Corbyn would do if he was still weaving his magic.
Thank you very much.
He's still alive,
What?
right? Yeah, I don't know about the magic, but he's still very much an MP and with us. Anyway, I've got to say...
You could be saying that the spirit of him flows through my veins now.
Disgusting.
Well, I mean...
That's not what you meant?
Not really. I think a lot of people will be very happy that the minimum wage has gone up. That's a good increase. That seems quite reasonable. But a lot of these policies that you've put through, I mean, it's reflected in the market's reaction. Relatively simple. Not really any major reaction at all. Everyone's sort of fine. Everyone's fine
Wrong.
with it.
No.
Is that no?
That's not true. The financial markets went, whoa!
Well, I mean,
can't believe it. She's ripped up the rule book.
Right. Interesting.
The bond markets, whoa!
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly been some talk
about... The bond markets exploded.
Well, I mean, you've got to remember, Rachel, it doesn't have to be shock me. I mean, we actually quite appreciate, I think a lot of people appreciate having a slightly less turbulent time after a budget. I mean, after quasi-Kwanzaa, if you're following that, well, you're...
Yeah,
It is shock me. Can I just say, it is shock me. Rachel Reeves is targeting private jets and worst of all, she's giving compensation to the post office people who are fine now. They had their ITV drama. They don't need any more. What's that happening?
Also for the victims of the blood scandal.
Well, sorry, I don't know about that. There's been no TV show about it.
Well, there will be imminently, and it will feature Toby Jones.
And
then you will know.
And I suppose that'll be coming out of our pocket, won't it? The hard-working, the working class, the people who scrimp and save for a third TV. I won't have it.
I'm Harriet.
You know what, Harriet? You're in Rachel's world now.
No, Rachel, you're on Harriet's podcast. I should flag that up now. Things have clearly got very heated. What I'd like to suggest is maybe that we all go down metaphorically to the pub, and I buy you both a pint of beer, which will cost 1 pence less per pint. Now, that's got to be something that everyone's looking forward to.
Producer
that's
Martin, ask her about
winner.
smoking. Ask her how she's persecuting the smokers.
Ask me. Go on.
I mean, no.
Ask me.
Producer Martin, ask her what she's done to the smokers.
What are you doing to them?
Ask me what I've done to them.
Was it a small...
You know.
2% rise on tobacco? 2%?
Do you know who else? Can I just say, do you know who else wouldn't let people smoke? Mr. Maoist.
Mr. Maoist?
Thank you.
Yep. The biggest communist of them all, Mr. Maoist.
Okay.
Well, that was where I originally got some of the ideas You look a bit confused, Producer Martin.
I am a little confused. I'm not...
What's the issue?
Obviously, you don't know your communism history.
Yes. Is that Mao? Are you talking about Chairman Mao? Is that... I don't know my communist history, clearly.
Him too, probably. Him too.
Alcohol, 1.7%. Very reasonable. In line with rises that have been talked about before. I mean, the whole thing doesn't really seem like a red threat. I've got to say, it just seems like nice common sense. Like the adults are back in the room. And I think that's something we can all
you're saying,
appreciate.
This is actually incredibly offensive. I've taken strong, broad, hard measures today. And I really feel like them being described in these slightly patronising terms. Would you have said this to Churchill? Would you have said this to any male chancellors?
No,
because I don't think you would have.
Well, okay, but I mean,
would you say this to Chairman Maoist?
There's certainly things.
It's actually pronounced Maoist.
Maoist, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that I could complain about. The raise of bus fare, the cap going up from £2 to £3. That's not ideal. I mean, you're going to be ruffling some feathers there.
Yeah, consider feathers ruffled.
Well, look, there's two things I like. I like the freeze on fuel duty. That's nice. I also like the 500 million going towards filling potholes, because that is, I think, an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And whenever me and producer Martin, if we're ever in public together,
Oh, yes.
If I see a pothole,
It's not good.
give producer Martin my phone and I get him to take a photo of me with me pointing at the pothole and looking disapproving.
And saying, well, Britain, we're in for a bumpy ride. It's not a good joke, but she says it every time.
Well, producer Martin, I think it is a good joke, actually, and it's very good to laugh in the face of sadness. So
And
I
danger.
do like that. I do like the 500 million to the potholes, but a lot of it. What's the point?
Well, I would say a lot worse than potholes are black holes. And as funny as it is seeing Martin make hilarious jokes at potholes in the road, black holes in a country's economy are a lot more dangerous.
Well, I think that's a good place to end the interview before we get any more Tory bashing. I mean, first you're horrible about the Office for Budget Responsibility and now this black hole shaming. But thank you, Rachel Reeves. Thank you for talking to us, and you will be defeated. That's all I'd like to say.
Viva Rachel. Thank you.
Communism, Martin, it's everywhere. It's the most radical government we've ever had. Now we move on to more sensible people who know a little bit more about economics than poor little Rachel. And our guest could hardly be more independent. He's the chairman of the Independent Foundation for the Independently Independent Analysis of Money,
which was founded as the East India Company for the protection of the financially prosperous.
I don't see what that's got to do with anything, Martin. I thought you liked taking patriots' names off things. Anyway, here with his rational, reasoned arguments is Greg Mustard. Let's take a listen. Greg, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have you on the show, because I usually love Budget Day and it made me so sort of nostalgic for the budgets past with this horrible budget. And I thought, who can remind us of the old budgets, back when the budgets were exciting and radical in the right way? Well, I thought Greg, who...
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Harriet. Sorry, it's
Harriet.
wonderful. Harriet, sorry. Great to be here. Thank you so much. Budgets, of course. Today's was nothing short of disappointment for us all. I think, yeah.
Really, really upsetting. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, starting with the basic thing, they've raised taxes. They're raising taxes by 40 billion.
Yeah. And anyone who has any financial sense or nous would know that the only way to stimulate growth and to promote the positive outcome, long and short term of the economy, is to cut taxes. Taxes. Cutting taxes will always promote growth. And as we've seen over the past 14 years, cutting taxes has meant that we've become one of the leading G7 economies in the world. And this, unfortunately, is going to send us back into the dark ages, Harriet.
Right. Well,
Wow,
I mean, Greg, sorry.
It's scary.
Sorry to jump in here,
Hello?
but some would say that the Conservatives' previous sort of slew of tax cuts didn't actually make the country any richer, and indeed left us in the financial debt that we're currently in, the deficit black hole that they've been trying to fill.
Yes, no. Well, if you'd studied economics like I had for over a number of years, and if your entire professional career had been based upon economic understanding and basic knowledge, you would have known that the Conservatives were on a 30-year path, a long-term path, to cut taxes even more, and they were interrupted very rudely, in fact, halfway through the plan to cut taxes even more to promote growth and to ensure that the United Kingdom would have been one of the most prosperous countries in the world.
Wow. I mean, I've always said it because, I mean, Greg, I know you're close with Liz Truss, but
Yes.
if as the lefties like to claim, her budget really did destroy the UK, then why does she still go around offering economic advice? because she didn't get to finish. She didn't get to finish her vision. She was cut off before, it's like getting ill. Often you get worse before you get better.
Yes, as they say in war, it's the darkest before the dawn. And
Yes.
she was cut off in her prime. Her and Kwasi Kwarteng had only just started their radical plan. And, if they'd have cut taxes even more than what they already were, which, they were hugely bloated taxes. Who needs such ridiculous taxes? Just cut them even more and then you will absolutely promote growth.
Taxes it's just crazy. It's like, do they want to make us all poor?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
do they want to punish us?
Yes, we're not Scandies, are we? Not bloody Scandies. We're God Save the King.
Exactly.
Cut taxes.
Yes.
It's a patriotic thing to do, is cut taxes.
What I don't see how that equivalent works, but the markets did get very scared, didn't they, with Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng's mini budget? We're in quite a different position here today, where there was very little worry from the markets. I think people are quite embracing it, as far as I've read.
No, the markets were joking that time with Kwasi Kwarteng, and they were having a laugh. They were playing along, and they were having a laugh with Liz and Kwasi. It was an in-joke that was taken entirely the wrong way. And if the lily livered left had stuck around for a little bit, they would have seen that the economy was absolutely going to rocket. It was going to go off into the moon.
So sort of
And as
sort
we
of
all
financial
know, the left
horseplay.
wing, they don't have a sense of humour.
The left wing do not have a sense of humour. They can't
No.
laugh at things. Quite obviously, the markets were having a joke around with Liz and Kwarteng, sort of, jolly hockey sticks, and everyone, absolutely lost their nerve, and they were sacked beyond their prime. Liz and Kwasi were radicals. They should be statues of them in Parliament Square. I
Greg,
think their heads should be on stamps and coins and things.
Okay,
But then the coins that aren't used to pay tax.
yeah, collector's editions, I suppose. Greg.
Yeah, special ones at the Royal Mail issue, but with their heads
I
on.
love that. Yes.
Yeah,
Their
so you have
heads,
to.
Kwasi Kwarteng's and Liz Truss's heads on stamps, but a special low tax edition.
Yeah, no, I get
Yeah,
the
I think
idea. Or
that'd be
maybe
really
you collect
beautiful.
things in your cornflakes and send them off, and then they send them to you as some sort of strange prize. Halloween tie-in, maybe.
They were like the
now-
Bonnie and Clyde, weren't they?
They
the
were,
budget.
yes. They were very much like the Bonnie and Clyde of budget.
Sexy but misunderstood.
Yeah, Liz Truss, slashing tariffs in fishnets, and Kwasi Kwarteng just astride the economy, glistening,
Glistening?
cutting those taxes left, right and centre.
It's just a very sexual picture, I
And
think.
that would be reflected in these special edition commemorative stamps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to fit all of that onto a stamp? It's going to be a very small image.
No, there'll be a set of 36 of them. One for each percentage point that tax should be cut.
Right, no,
once
that
again,
does
I
make
think
more
the problem
sense.
is, Producer Martin, can I just say that once again, you're exactly like the naysayers about Liz and Kwasi's budget, because what Greg is showing is real ambition here for what a stamp can be and what a stamp can show. But you
Well,
probably wouldn't
look-
even let him do one stamp. You'd
I
go,
wouldn't know.
oh, that's too much. That's too
Yeah,
much.
or you'd probably say, I can't afford stamps, or do I need to pay for this stamp? Can I have it free?
Yes.
Well, I think a
nothing
lot
is
of people-
free,
Nothing is
Producer
free in this
Martin.
life.
After that mini budget did actually struggle to buy stamps, so it's not such a laughing matter. Now, there are some people on, largely the conservative side of things that are calling this class war. They think that this is a socialist
Yeah.
budget, and that it is taxing the wealthy and even the middle class. Now, my question to you is, what does that class war look like?
Physically,
Yes.
what it looks like is big bearded chaps wearing
Very working class.
death metal based t-shirts.
Yeah, sure.
With big beards and holding tridents made of cheese strings, waving them
Yeah.
threateningly at a hunt, and judges wearing wigs
Yeah.
and
Oh, not
smelling
lovely judges.
smelling quite a lot of BO,
And
and
indeed,
then other northern people in flat caps coming along as well, and threatening those hardworking barristers with
right.
pitchforks made of wall sausages
It's absolutely hellish.
And this is on the streets.
on the streets right in front of the Bank of England.
Wow.
It's class war, and the people on the hunter on the horses don't know what's going on. They're absolutely freaking out.
It sounds
And
quite a scene.
the great unhosed are just saying, give us more, we want more free.
You can see that in a painting, can't you, in a gallery? It's
Or a
just so
stamp, maybe. We
horrific.
could have a set of stamps
That would certainly
commemorating
take
the
a few
class
stamps.
war.
Well, also, the thing is, what I hear, Gregory, is that it's not just class war, it's naked class war.
It's naked class war. Those people, the big burly men with their beards and their long hair and their bottom halves are naked.
Oh, God.
Are they glistening?
No, producer Martin, it's not
They're not
glistening.
people
They're not
need to
glistening.
know
Only Quasi-Quartane glistens.
It's got balls in people's faces.
Okay.
They're lunging at the horses threateningly with their
not the
tridents made of
horses.
cheese strings.
Why will people never respect the horses? This is what
don't
I
respect-
can't get over.
They don't have basic equine discipline around. They don't know what's going on.
No, it's absolutely
They're just
horrible.
lunging with their cheese string tridents at the upper classes, and it's absolutely disgusting. They don't know what's going on.
What have we done? What have we ever done to them? This is what I want to know.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. Well, we help them, and they come back with their t-shirts, nothing in the nether regions, and they're just lunging at the horses, and it's absolutely disgusting. All we want to do is cut the taxes for them to promote
Well,
growth, and they're shouting that at them as well. The barristers are shouting that at them, but they're not listening.
What are they shouting, Greg?
What are the barristers shouting?
Yeah.
We're on your side. We're on your side, and they're all saying. Because
That's how working class people speak.
they can't
producer
speak.
Martin.
They can't speak.
Well,
They
Greg,
can't
that's
speak. They try.
They try,
but they can't.
a guttural urge as they swing and lunge pendulously swinging towards these horses. The horses don't know what's going on. And then,
how could they?
and
How
then
could
Liz
they?
Truss in a helicopter comes down with a megaphone, calms everything. Everything's fine again.
What a woman.
Because that's the British way, isn't it?
Quartane's piloting the helicopter, glistening.
I'm just glad they're friends again.
They've made up.
Well, listen, Greg, thank you for this. This has been really cathartic. And, well, I guess we'll see you next year for
At the Tufton Bash.
Oh,
sorry.
The Tufton Bash.
The Tufton Bash.
I was going to say the budget, but the Tufton Bash.
No, you
I'll
pop
be
along to the old
there.
Christmas party for a couple of mince pies.
I'll be there bashing people around. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let's hope there's no glistening at that one. Yes. I'm not invited, am I?
Only Quartane glistens.
Right, yeah, no, fair enough.
Those adverts were annoying, weren't they? Well, from just £5 a month, that's basically £1.20 a week, you can get rid of them by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored, where not only will you get the show without adverts, you'll also get the episode before everyone else, as well as videos of all our segments and exclusive bonus podcasts. Finally, Eshaan Akbar is best known to you, our listeners, as a so-called comedian and our diversity correspondent. But he also has a background in finance, so we thought it would be interesting to ask him to prepare an alternative budget. The people's budget, if you like.
What do you mean by people, though?
I mean our listeners, Martin. Real, honest people, not slackers or skivers. People who do the hard work of downloading this podcast every week.
You mean the heroes?
That's exactly what I mean, Martin. So, let's take a listen. Eshaan Akbar, happy budget week.
Why, thank you very much for those salutations. I love budget week. I love numbers. I love balancing the sheets. And I love seeing what we're spending our money on as a nation.
Well, see, Eshaan, usually I love budget week, but this one it's been a sad affair. Hasn't it, producer Martin?
Well, I think it depends who you talk to. There's a lot of people that'll be excited about a pound off the pint. You know, the first budget made by a lady.
Surely that makes you happy, Harriet?
What, first budget made by a lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't listen, I am champion of women. I think they're great, but can they do maths? I don't think so.
First Labour budget in 15 years. That's, there's a lot of people on the left that'll be quite excited about it.
Well, do you know what, though? What I'm looking forward to in this section is the fact that we can move away from that budget that made a lot of us sad and actually focus on a fun alternative budget constructed by our very own diversity correspondent, Eshaan Akbar. Because, Eshaan, you have a history in financial work, don't you?
Yes, Harriet. I started my career before I became this hyper-successful comedian that you see before you.
Yes.
I started my career in banking and wealth management, actually. I spent 6 years doing that, and then 5 years as a government policy advisor. So kind of married up frontline banking and government policy. And then I was a speechwriter in a bank for a while. So I was the person that would write the words for bankers to say. So in many ways, Rachel Reeves, what she did yesterday, she would have had someone like me writing the words for her to say.
Wow. Isn't that great?
If you were behind the pen that was writing those, well, probably not a pen. You're probably not doing it by hand. If you were behind the fingers, if you were one finger in the hand of, let's just.
Were you going to ask me if I had one finger behind Rachel Reeves? What?
No. If you were tapping away, making the speech, and the budget, what would you be doing differently?
Well,
that's what we want to know.
Yes, very, very, very well framed. Now, look, I would actually completely flip Budget Day on its head because usually the budget, you said it's our first Labour one in 15 years, first one by a woman. I think she should have gone the full way and completely flipped the script. And instead of saying, this pot of money, and this is how we're going to spend it, and this is where we're going to get a bit more money from and where people have to pay less, I think what she should have gone is said this. From now on, whatever we spend is only going to come from people rounding up every single one of their purchases. So if any of you are familiar with the idea of going to a McDonald's or even going to a restaurant and you get a bill for, say, £47.30.
Yes.
And then the machine will say, do you want to round this up to £50 to donate to charity? That'd be nice of you today.
No, thank you.
Yes, no to charity. Thing is, charities are obviously very, very dodgy organisations. Mm-hmm. Why are you so keen on helping people? I don't trust your niceness.
Yeah, I only came here to buy potatoes.
Thank you. Exactly. So what you do is you say, right, what we're going to do, if you round up to, say, £50, whatever that money is, I don't know, £2.70, that will go into the budget for the country, and we will use that to spend money on the things that we need as a nation.
Sort of like a kitty.
Exactly, like a kitty. And what you'll find is you will end up taking more money from the people that can afford to. So for me, I don't think I'll be able to afford to round up to £2.30, but Harriet, who's obviously incredibly wealthy and successful and has a beautiful home and nice hair, would
Thank you.
feel very comfortable rounding up a £47.30 purchase to £50. And she's someone who has the means to be able to do it. And then you take that money and then you spend it on the things that we need as a nation.
Well, I've
such
got
as
to
more
say,
clotheslines in gardens.
Eshaan, it sounded to me like a bit of a wild suggestion. I mean, these extra £1 or even 30p's here and there, is it going to make up the £40 billion budget that we had? But I just used a calculator.
Yes.
And found out, so there's about 70 million people in the UK, right?
Yes.
That would actually, if you split 40 billion between 70 million, is 570. That's how much we'd have to get. £570 each
From each person.
For each person, that sounds wild.
Every single citizen, right? We all
that
have
will
things.
be babies as well, though, I should think.
Babies don't spend money, though, do they? They're scroungers.
No.
They are scroungers.
Exactly.
They are quite stingy, famously.
I do want to say, there's nothing wrong with giving to charity sometimes. I think it's very nice. And all I take umbrage is if I go to the supermarket, don't force my hand. I'll give charity to charity when I feel like it.
Yes.
The problem, Eshaan, with your idea is
Yes.
you are basically forcing people, you are taxing people every time they get anything. That is
chugging.
monstrous. That is taxation
You
through
might as well
the roof.
be shaking a little collector's
Yes,
pot.
Well,
it
no,
is. It's like
people.
having one of those little chuggers following you around going, oh, save the whales, sign my form.
Well,
Yes,
no, look, it's
the canals
entirely,
needs renewing.
Yes.
Sign my form.
But it's like they're following you everywhere, but in
it's an entirely
electronic
voluntary
form.
contribution. It's an entirely voluntary
donkeys.
contribution.
Eshaan, the donkeys are dying. Sign my form.
Eshaan, my cat got stuck down a well. Sign my form.
Eshaan,
Do we have wells?
I want a new hat. Sign my form.
Eshaan,
Yes.
actually, I need a new bike. Sign my form. Do you see where it goes, Eshaan? It starts
I
off
think
being
you
a
can see the
charity,
theme now.
and then it's about hats and bikes.
There's no forms. There's no forms involved, and it's entirely voluntary. That's the whole point. Is
Oh,
Voluntary, my ass.
wow.
is your ask one? Okay. Well, the point was that it was a voluntary contribution, and people can contribute. You know, they can round up when they feel like it.
Okay, hang on. So if it's voluntary,
Yes.
how do you know anyone's going to pay towards the taxes?
Well, you don't. So if nobody pays, then we don't spend money on anything.
But, okay, just to play
no,
devil's
this is winning me over.
avocado here.
You could round up an avocado. How much is an avocado? £1.76.
Well,
Round up to £2.
For about two. But, I mean, here's the thing. We do like the old fire service, for example.
Yes.
Nice to have some young chaps that are willing and trained
Yes.
to put out fires.
You can have young women
when
too.
they-
Producer Martin.
Yeah, of course, yes. I mean, sure.
No, we've got very weak upper arm strength.
Fire people
But my point being that without guaranteed
handling big hoses.
funding,
Yes.
we may struggle to retain them. Also, the same could be said for doctors, all of the emergency services, and the infrastructure upon which our civilization.
But I just think that we get the amount of people and resources we deserve. You know, if people are contributing by rounding up every single one of their purchases, all the way from a vape to a house, if you round up to nice round numbers, right?
Okay, well, no, okay, I'm interested now on the big ticket items because that's how I think we get the more fair taxation on the rich. So if you're buying a £1 million house, but it was only 900,000,
Yes.
you got it for, would you be rounding up by that?
No,
extra
because you've hit
100,000?
900,000. It would only be multiples of 10.
Oh, that seems less good. What? So the maximum you can round up is like £10.
Yes. Well, £9.99
Okay.
maximum.
Actually, do you know what? That's good because that sort of is kind on the billionaires and
Yes.
people like to persecute them. People are always waiting in the dark to persecute the billionaires.
Look
And
at
this
America.
way,
Britain needs to stop vilifying the rich. We should
Yeah.
stop hating success. Okay?
Yeah.
Success is good. Look at America. You celebrate success, and then you get cool people like DJ Khaled,
Oh, he's
I don't know
very
who that
funny.
is, but that sounds wonderful.
and Donald Trump,
Oh, yes. What a
And
funny,
Elon
lovely
Musk.
man.
Yeah, where's Britain's Elon Musk? Where is he? Yeah, who's our Elon Musk?
We don't have one.
Oh,
We don't
yeah,
have
we
one.
do. Noel Edmonds, doesn't he? Because he gives people money just for answering the phone,
does Elon
opening
give money
boxes.
to answering the phone?
Yeah, he's giving about away £1 million a day to people for
Is he?
if they sign up to vote for Donald Trump.
Well, there you go.
Well, listen,
I'm not sure it involves boxes though, so it's probably less fun.
thank you, Eshaan Akbar, for
My
telling
pleasure.
us your alternative budget. It's very interesting, and I'm sure a think tank somewhere will pick it up and think about it.
And if they wish to round up my ideas, they know where to contact me.
Oh, that's very good. I don't really understand why it's a joke, but you said it in such a funny
yes.
way.
It's got the feeling of one, hasn't it?
Oh, it does. It has the feeling of a good joke. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Oh, witty man. Well, that's it for now. We'll be back next week, so in the meantime, like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow the Out of Context Non-Censored Blue Sky account, and remember that there's loads of stuff on our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored. So if you enjoy the show, please do support us if you can. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Davina Bentley, Paul Dunphy and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.